Welcome back to StitchPhiles, Barrett in America.
World headquarters, Archstone, North Kakalaki.
WHQ.
That's right, where everything that happens at Barrett and Worldwide is right here in this building.
Yeah, good and bad.
Good and bad, exactly.
So we're back.
Where have we been?
You've been more places than me.
I've been everywhere, man. I'm like Hank Snow.
What,
do you know what that means?
Yeah.
Okay. Some people probably don't.
Yeah. I was going to sing the song.
So I met Sarah. I could say stuff like when Sarah was here, I would say stuff like that, and she would look at me like, "What are you talking about?" I just forget that it's generational.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee not many people know who Hank Snow is.
I do.
Johnny Cash sang that song too.
I know. That's
I've
what.
been everywhere, man.
Yeah.
The U.S. Postal Service uses it on their commercial.
Yeah.
Have you seen that commercial?
I've heard it.
It's good. I like that song.
Yeah, it's funny. Generational stuff. Like, you realize I'm at the age now where I feel like everybody I talk to is younger than me, like most people that I interact with.
Yeah, yes.
I know they are for you.
No, they are. I mean, I look at when you get in your 60s, the way that I feel, I don't feel. Well, I don't know what it's supposed to feel like.
Yeah, you never.
Other than my aches and pains, but you think that everybody is like the same. You look around and like there's more people younger than you than older than you.
Because they're dead.
Because they're dead.
Yeah.
No, I mean, think about it. I was talking about this with Mrs. Kim, your mother.
Mrs. Kim?
Raquel Welch died.
Yeah, I saw
Man,
that.
she was a I was going to say sex bomb. That doesn't sound right, does it?
I dropped a sex bomb in this room earlier.
She was a sex symbol when I was a kid, man. Man, she was gorgeous. Man, she was so pretty.
Yeah. You used to be pretty sexy, too. Now you're just
I know.
like garbage.
Yeah. You lose your sexiness as you get older.
Used to be a sex bomb. And
I
you
used to be a
exploded.
sex bomb. I was. This sex bomb went everywhere. It just blew
It's
up.
been everywhere, man.
What was I thinking? Sex bomb. Oh, a bombshell.
Yeah.
No, is that the same thing?
Yeah, a bombshell. Which that stuff's not PC anymore to say.
No,
I'm
you
sure.
can't say that stuff. Probably should.
Definitely can't say sex bomb.
Not a sex bomb.
You think if you're getting on an airplane, you're like, this man has a sex bomb. I'm like, shut it down.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to reroute the plane.
it's not the sex part that we object to. It's that last word, that four-letter word, bomb. Starts with a B and ends with a B.
Yeah.
So.
What were you getting at with her, though? Oh, that she's dead? She used to be pretty?
Yeah, man. She was, I mean, it's like, look at the rock stars that have died. Jeff Beck. Oh, man. Were you a Jeff Beck fan?
You asked me this the other day, and yeah. A little bit. Mm-hmm. I'm not crazy about him.
Well, he had a different way of playing. Yeah. You definitely knew who it was when he started playing.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But he was an influence on me not to play.
I have a lot of those.
Once I heard him, I'm like, I just might as well sell my guitars because
Yeah.
I can't sound like this dude.
Yeah, yeah. Do you remember that band, that Polyphia band? We went to go get sushi, and they're like, it's almost like Latin. It's a lot of flamenco, but it's acoustic, but it's almost metal. Man, that stuff, that will discourage you from picking up a guitar.
I get discouraged every time I pick up my guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been trying to play more blues lately. I don't know why. I've just kind of gotten into it.
What's something you can do when you don't have friends to play with?
Exactly. Or when they abandon you or flake out on you. So, yeah, my little project went kaput.
As most do.
I know. I don't even know why I try. I'm not trying anymore. You told me. You warned me.
Yeah, I did.
So I didn't listen. Anyway.
Yeah, we digress.
Anyway, we've been. That's a tangent.
We've been a lot of places, taking machines to customers. You've been traveling.
How many states we been to?
I've only been to. I haven't been to a lot. Been the last month. We went from North Carolina all the way down to Florida.
I was in Connecticut.
And Virginia. We went up.
We went to Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee.
I've been everywhere, man.
Yeah. We're getting ready to go to, we'll be going through how many states?
I don't know. You go
Virginia, Maryland,
West Virginia.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
We do bypass that, don't we?
Yeah, we don't go up 81. We
Yeah.
go up 95.
Anyway, to the trade show you're speaking of.
Yeah, we got a
Which
trade
is
show.
March 23rd through 25th.
That is a Thursday through Friday show.
Thursday through Saturday.
What did I
It's one
say?
Thursday through Friday. It's a
That's
one-day show.
kinda I like.
Yeah. We are booth 219.
Yes.
Pretty sure.
Yes, we will have a narrow field 6 head. The CO1, which is right behind us, the trusty CO1. The XL is right behind us.
Behind me.
And we'll have a Pro 3
Comes back here.
that'll come back here.
Yeah.
We haven't had a Pro 3 in, 6 months? Maybe longer?
Yeah, it's been a while.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting another Pro 3 in here. It's our most popular single head. I started to say singular head.
Singlet head.
And we sell a ton of them.
Yeah. So, yeah, come to the show if you're not planning.
We have,
if you haven't planned already, plan to come.
Can you put the
code?
the code on there on
Yeah.
the screen?
I didn't know if that was free use.
Sure. For Barrington customers
I'll put it up.
or Barrington prospects. If you don't own a Barrington, you're thinking about getting one, you can get into the show for free.
Yeah. I'll put the code in the
Put them
podcast
in the
description,
Yeah.
YouTube description. I'll put it on the Instagram too. So.
Yeah. It's EXIV
You remember it?
3010050. No, I don't know.
Yeah. It used to be Barrington. That's what it was the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's kind of weird now. I don't know why it's changed. It used to be Barrington with some numbers after it,
Yeah.
but it's not anymore. I don't know whatever. It's there, and we provide it for you if you want to go.
Yep. And we'll put it up. I'll put it up in the descriptions, all that stuff. We got to see the Chicken Man. That was fun.
We got to see the Chicken Man. We got to eat some delicious chicken.
Yeah, give your recap on that. I know Robert will listen to this. So,
What do you mean my recap? On
did
the
you
chicken?
enjoy that chicken? Yeah.
Yeah. You had hyped it up so much. I think it was good. I think you and I discussed this on the way home. You said, how do you like it? And I said, well, I like PDQ a lot.
Do you know what that stands for?
Perfectly delicious chicken. No, it's a Q.
I think it's people delivering quality or something like that. It's something weird. That has nothing to do with chicken. Parts delivered quickly.
Yeah. Pretty damn
Chicken
quick.
parts.
Pretty damn quick was what?
Chicken parts delivered quickly.
Chicken. Yeah.
It
It's
is.
good. I wish they would have put one in High Point. We have a Popeyes now.
I went by that the other day. It looks cool.
Did you go in?
No. I was coming back from the movies.
You like Popeyes?
I guess.
Remember people were getting killed over their chicken sandwich?
Mm-hmm.
Literally. Somebody got shot in the
I
drive-thru.
thought it was stabbed, but
Well, whatever.
it's that building just looks cool. White with the teal. It looks like retro.
Huey Magoo's, who's sponsoring this show
Let's talk
today.
about Huey. Yeah, thanks.
No, the chicken was good.
But the fellowship was even better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got to see... you hadn't met Steve Sutphin, had you?
I had not, no.
Yeah,
I know.
Steve's
I
a
met
good guy.
Rob before.
I've known him for a long time. He's had Barrington's forever. And then, of course, Elrod. Gotta love him. He's a chicken connoisseur.
Mm-hmm.
He's my go-to guy when I want to talk about chicken or think about chicken or want to taste some chicken. And I'm in his general vicinity. I say, where do I go to get quality chicken?
They've got a really good operation going on down there.
They do. But I'm proud of him, man. He got a really good business. SR2 in Orlando, Florida.
It's R2 Industries.
Yeah, very nice. Bunch of Barringtons in there. Got a lot going on. Very busy. He deserves it. He's done well.
Yep.
I may ask him for a job when I retire. Go to Florida.
That would be a good gig.
Work on an embroidery machine and eat chicken.
Yeah.
That'd be a good life.
He's got the Huey hookup.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Enough.
Of that.
Yep. We're going to talk
Foolishness.
about field sizes of our machines.
That's something we get asked a lot
Mm-hmm.
at shows. How big
Shows
will
on
it
the
sew?
phone.
How big will it sew? We kind of take it for granted. And I think the way that Barrington does field sizes is pretty easy compared to some of our competitors.
It is. Especially when you look at the hoops. Being
Exactly.
interchangeable.
Exactly. And how important is field size? Well, in my opinion, it's probably the most important, other than what machine you're going to buy, which should be a Barrett. But if it's not, you got to look at field size and what you're going to be sowing. And when we say field size, that's the area that the machine will sow. And it differs on our machines. For example, the one, behind Brandon's.
My noggin.
Right shoulder. Yes. I'm looking at you.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is. I thought it was actually behind me.
Could be left shoulder from where I am. The XL2 has the smallest field size that we offer.
So 250 by 400.
Yeah.
Or 9 3/4 by 15.5.
15.5. And that's 15.5 wide by 9 3/4 deep. And we sell a lot of those machines, but the Pro 3 we sell the most of, and the biggest reason is the field size. It has a bigger field size. So why is field size important? Well, if it depends on what you're going to be sowing, what your business model is, I guess. A lot of people say, well, I'm just going to do names and maybe a few tote bags, personalization, things like that.
It sounded like you said toad bag.
Toad bag. What call it your toad?
It could be a bag for your toad.
It could be.
Yeah.
You could put many toads in some of these bags. So, but your toad bag, if you want to tote your toad, your frog bag.
Frog bag.
I lost my train of thought now. I'm thinking about frogs.
That's my fault.
Yeah.
You're saying why you would pick the particular machine like the XL.
For an example, we have a couple companies that do nothing but personalization, and they just this is all they use is the XL because that field size is
that's plenty.
Well, it's big enough to do names and personalization. And if that's all you're going to do, really and truly, you can save $2,500. Yeah, I was trying to do the math in my head.
I did it for you.
And same sewing head, same operating system, pretty much the same everything with the exception of the chassis and the size and the field size. It takes up a little less room, so if you're cramped for space in your shop, it doesn't take up a whole lot of room.
Yeah, but the Pro 3 doesn't either, really.
It doesn't. Yeah, if you can fit an XL, then there's no reason you can't fit a Pro 3. But it's a great little machine. Caps, it does, the wraparound caps or the 14.5-inch sewing field on caps, the same as every other machine that we have. So it's plenty big enough to do probably 90% of what anybody does.
Yeah, honestly.
Now, if you're going to get into jacket backs or bigger applications, then obviously it's not big enough. So that's why we make the Pro 3, which again, as I just stated, it's our most popular machine. So there's something to be said. The first machine I ever bought, when the XL first came out, I'm trying to remember what year this was, 2002, 2003. It was a D-Series machine. Yes, it was a D-Series. It had a 250 by 250 sewing field.
Yeah.
9 needle. The earliest ones were 250 by 250. So that was really small. You didn't have much room this way or much room this way. So that was like less than 10 by 10.
Mm-hmm.
But, we had it down in the den at our house.
The dungeon.
It worked well. I did a lot of caps on it, a lot of stuff on it, and it was a good little machine. I can't remember why I sold it.
I don't know why you did either.
But I did. I just got busy and didn't have time, so I sold it.
Which is what happened.
Yeah,
the second go round.
But I bought one of the first. It was called a junior.
Junior,
then.
yeah.
When if you have a junior, you have the 250 by 250 sewing field.
Which the name XL is a bit misleading.
It's a misnomer. That is the XL. That should be called the XL.
That should be the jumbo. The Pro's the XL. That's the junior.
The junior. It should be. And it was originally called the junior.
Japan, if you're listening.
No, we named
America, if you're listening.
Well, the reason we called this the XL is because when the junior first came out, it was 250 by 250.
Because that's bigger than the junior.
So it was bigger than the junior, so we called it an XL. So it
couldn't just been an L.
Should have called it an XL Junior. Right?
Which is my shirt size.
Yeah. You still wear granimals?
Yeah, I do.
You know what those are?
Yeah, I do. I wear husky jeans and granimals. You know, it's bad if your mom's shopping for you in the husky section,
size, yeah.
which is my childhood.
Yeah. I wore 36 husky.
I'm 12 years old. I wear a 38-30.
I'm trying to get into a 36 slim.
I call those, those people that wear those shirts that are like really too tight. Those are muscle fit mediums. Like me and my friends always say, that guy's got that muscle fit medium on.
All my shirts are too tight in the gut.
Yeah.
Back to the task at hand.
Yeah, the Pro 3 field size we didn't talk about. That's 360 by 500.
Yeah, and that's
or 15 by 17.
We've
for
never
the American
had,
audience.
We've never had a field size that size. I mean the let's see the 1501, the predecessor to this machine was. It wasn't as deep. It was 17 by 13, I think. You've seen the oblong hoops.
I don't know that it was 17 though.
It may not have been. I can't remember. It seems like
was it 15 by 13?
It could have been 15 by 13.
I know what the hoop looks like and what the machine looks like. I don't know the field size off the top of my head.
Yeah, they were 300. What's the XL again? It's 250. Yeah,
250 by 400.
They were 330.
Were they 330 by 400?
I think they were 330 by 400. Man, I got to look that up. That's bugging me. I should know that, but I may haven't been around at 501 in forever.
Yeah, it's.
And we sold a boatload of those machines. We had your mother and I had a couple, so they were really, really good machines.
That's the two I remember.
Yeah. And that field size was fine. So when they came out with the Pro 3, as we know it now, they came out with the 360 by 500, which is really big for that size machine. I mean, it's going to do 99% of what it'll do jacket backs. I mean, I really and truly don't know why you would want to get a CO1 unless you just wanted, if you're going to do a lot of flat sewing, or if you're sewing really big Carhartt jackets and that's your thing, like up north. That tabletop's going to give you a little bit more support. And then when we go to the CO1 and up, the compact bridge machines that all have what we call a wide field. They're 450 by 520. And then we have a narrow field.
So 450 by 380.
We have narrow field 2, a narrow field 6, and a narrow field 8. Which is 450 by 380. And the depth stays the same, but they get narrower. So what is it, 14 half inches wide, 14 3/4?
Yeah, 14 3/4. 17.5 by 14 3/4, 17.5 by 20 1/4.
Yeah, is what it goes to.
That's where your hoops will not be interchangeable anymore.
No. And the hoops pretty much stay the same, just as far as the hoops
clamps or whatever
manufacture-wise go. But the clips on the side change.
I call them wings. What's the
clips? They're called clips.
I feel like that's the clip.
That's the sewing arm.
The clip.
The little clips. There are clips on there that hold.
Yeah.
So when you're talking to customers about buying a machine and they're looking at the multi-heads, a lot of folks don't realize that we make a wide field, which for us, we didn't make a narrow field.
Right, that's the standard field size.
For the longest time. To us, we always made what we call a wide field. Now, I know our competitors, I know Tajima made wide and narrow in just about everything for the longest time, and we just never did. We never felt the need to. And it wasn't that Barrington didn't make a narrow field. It's just that we never imported them to the U.S. We just didn't see there wasn't enough difference, I felt, in the price of the machine. I'm just like, well, then for $3,000 more, why even
think about a narrow?
But
Some people don't have the footprint for it.
And that's used to be when if they couldn't fit a 6 wide, they could fit a 4 wide, which is about the same size as the 6 narrow now.
It's just a couple inches. The 6 narrow is a couple inches longer, as is the 8 narrow versus the 6 wide.
Yeah. But did I ever tell you the reason we started selling the 6 narrow?
Probably.
But you forgot.
Yeah.
Would you like me to refresh your memory?
Yeah.
What's that? Well, that's been about 7 or 8 years ago, maybe. If that. 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I have no concept of time. That's another thing when you get older. It all runs together.
Or now, for me.
Yeah. Or you're just forgetful. Our Canadian office wanted a narrow field to compete with some of the other manufacturers in Canada. So we never, ever wanted to sell a narrow field 6. I was completely against it. Always was against it. I mean, Japan would say, do you want to sell these? We'd be like, no, don't want them. We're fine. We're selling plenty of the wide field 6s. He was adamant about getting some narrow field 6s up there. So he talked us into ordering 10 units. He said, I can move these things like that because he was looking at price. Well, we ordered 10 units. I never told the guys in the States that they were here. They sat in the warehouse up there for 3 or 4 months. He never sold the first one.
Oh, really?
Never. And so Japan said, well, you guys got to do something about these machines. And Kevin and I talked about it. And I said, once we put those things out there and they get in the market.
It's going to be, so it's by accident.
Because it was by accident. It wasn't a plan. It wasn't something we had planned to do. They were all designated for Canada. And you know this, but listeners don't know that Canada sells out of our inventory because they're under the Baird in America umbrella.
Our neighbors to the north.
Our neighbors to the north, frozen tundra. So those machines sat in the warehouse and sold them for probably 4 months, a long time. And then, Japan was like giving us grief, like, you guys got to get rid of these machines. And Canada couldn't sell them. They were selling the wide fields, and I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying, it was kind of worth a shot if they could sell them, and the customers up there could save a little bit of money. But that's the thing about it. You're not saving that much money.
Not really.
It's only $3,000 difference. Now in Canada, it's a big difference with the exchange rate, but it's still only $3,000 difference U.S. So, I think Thad put them on a stock list, and I threw them out there to the guys and they said, well, when did we get these? I can sell these. And man, they sold like that.
Yeah. And
we were out. And then I'm like, well, we got to start ordering these because people wanted them. I guess we try to keep it as simple as we can with not a lot of models, not a lot of field sizes, not a lot of differences. I think that our lineup is really, really simple.
Yeah. That's kind of the beauty of it, honestly. There's not a lot of decisions to be made.
Well, when you look at Tajima, they sell 2 models.
Yeah.
They sell one that compares with ours, and they sell one that's less expensive. I think even SWF does too. They sell 2 different models. We don't. We pretty much what you see here is what you get. I mean, it's the same sewing head on every machine that you get, same operating system. The only thing that's going to change is the field size and how big a sewing area.
Yeah, and that's some people often ask that too. Like, okay, well, this narrow field, like, is it still the same as the wide? Like, is the electronics the same as the motor? I was like, yes, it's the same. What about caps? It's like, it's the same. It's going to do the same. So maybe they have this mindset, if they're coming from a different manufacturer, that there's, I don't know, it's a cheaper option. But is it made cheaper? And it's not. It's the same.
No, I mean, the frame, the chassis is exactly the same. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's lighter, of course, because the machine is shorter. But the components that make the frame, like the supports and the I-beams and everything, or not the I-beams, but the beams that the sewing head is attached to are the same.
Yeah.
Even the rails for the pantograph are all the same. The motors are the same. Everything's exactly the same. Nothing changes there. So, and I can understand how people might think, well, if it's a smaller machine, then it's going to be cheaper components.
Yeah, and they'll say the same thing about the XL too. Like, oh, that's the entry-level model. It's not. It's just a smaller field size.
No, we've got some really big customers that sew that XL. I've been sewing them for years. Because it's got the same sewing head, same operating system. All the sewing head parts are interchangeable with the CO1 right there. So,
yeah,
it's pretty much the same machine. It's just a smaller footprint. There is one exception. Well, I had another point I wanted to make before we moved on to that, but I wanted to talk about the KT2 head, which there is a difference there.
Yes.
Back to the the narrow field 6. We made a narrow field 8, and then we made it before we did the wide field 8. And the reason we went to a wide field 8 is we had customers telling us that asked us, man, we like to have 8 heads, but we like the sewing field on the 6. So we had the wide field 8 long before the narrow 6. And I just didn't know how many of those wide field 8s we could sell. And we don't sell a ton of them. We don't.
No.
But do you sell many?
Mm-hmm. I have, yeah. It's the same with the 6s and the 8s. Like, it is probably literally 50-50. The people that buy 6 wides narrows and 8s wides narrows. I mean, I tend to tell people, like, if you're getting a multi-head, probably lean towards the wide field. That way you have the field size if you do need it. Then your second machine could be a narrow field. That's kind of my thinking. But, yeah.
Don't you think most people use the narrows for caps?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people set them up for.
Or if it's a company that does nothing but left chest and doesn't do anything any bigger, then that's perfectly fine.
You have to qualify their purchase. Like, okay, what are you mainly doing? And let them make their decision. But it's our job to educate them.
Well, if someone purchases a wide field 6 first, and they're looking for their second 6 head, let's say, I always tell them, to me, the perfect shop is going to be a wide 6, a narrow 6, and a single. Head. Probably a Pro 3.
Yep, that's what I say.
That's how I would do it. If money were no object, and you've got the room, you've got the work to keep it going, because you can throw all your caps on the narrow. Not that the wide field won't sew caps too, because they will. Just as there's no difference in the stitch quality. But
there's a lot of people that just buy that narrow and it's strictly a cap machine.
Yeah. But it's interesting the way that people think about sewing field, and new people. I guess this is more geared toward new people too, because they don't know what they really need if they're new to the industry, and they look at price and they're like, well, this machine over here is $16,000. Pro 3 is $18,700. What? I can save a little bit of money, but again, you may have an idea what you want to sew. One thing that always concerned me when we had our embroidery business was if somebody walked into your shop and they wanted something sewn, say they wanted a jacket back or they wanted to do a bigger application, and if your machine wasn't big enough to do it, then you lost that business.
And they're probably
not coming back, because if they find somebody to do that, in their mind they think, well, they got a tiny little machine, they're not going to be able to sew this.
Yep.
That's why I always, buy more sewing field than you need. You may never use it,
right? But
if somebody walks out, or you're
not pigeonholing yourself.
If you can't provide them with the service they're asking for, then you've probably lost that customer forever.
Yeah.
Not always, but in their mind, because I think of it the way that I think of it too. If I go somewhere and say, well, can you do this? And they're like, no, I can't do that. But maybe they could have done something differently. And part of that too may be the sales process. But if somebody comes to you and they want a jacket back done, then you know, It's not that you can't do it on the XL.
Yeah.
You just have to. You would have to hoop it twice.
Yeah, split your design up.
And that's a pain. I know some of these small home machines, they have software that'll split the design up for them and make it easier. But in the commercial side of things, that's more difficult. It can be done, but why you want to mess around with having to unhoop it, hoop it back up, have alignment marks on there, sewn into it where you got everything lined up. I mean, it's easier with the laser light, but still, yet it's not 100% foolproof. You got to be really careful with it. But, back to the 8-head. That I had a point there. We went. Folks wanted 8 heads because they didn't want to go to a 12, and a 12 is not going to have 520 node spacing anyway.
You can,
and we did carry the 520 and 12 heads for a while, and that's the thing. It's some general rules really do apply that you think they don't, but they do. When somebody's buying a 12 head or a 15 head, they're not looking at the biggest sewing field. They're looking as many heads as they can to as many items as possible. Logos. Yep. So we carried a 520 by 450 12 head for a long time, and that machine was really long. It was it longer than a 15 head? Because 15 heads were always 380. Because you can't make a 520 15 head. It would be 40 feet long.
It would have to be longer.
I think it was a little bit long. I think it was a little bit longer than a 15 head. I think I may not be right about that. If anything, it was about the same length, about 27 feet, 26 and a half feet. And we just made that machine because that's what Japan was making, and we never thought anything about it. And Japan came to us and said, why do you guys want this 520 machine? And we're like, well, that's what we always ordered. And they said, well, we think you ought to go to the 380. And we're like, okay. And we had a couple customers complain about the 520 machine being too wide, being too long.
I could see the point.
So we started making. Now get a load of this. We started making we switched the 12 head down to a 380, and then what happened was a couple customers that we'd sold the 520 machine to were like, "Hey, how come you stopped making that machine?" And that's what they wanted. And we're like, "Wait a minute, it wasn't 520, it was 450. 450 by 450, not 520." Wasn't it?
I think there was a 520 also, though.
There was a 520, but that's
there is a 450 by 450.
That's what it was. It's a 450
because there's
by 450. That's what it was.
Which I don't know that.
I know it's confusing. I'm confused right now with it, but no, it was.
There's a 450 by 450.
It was
a
450 by 520. We just special ordered one for Canada.
Those Canadians.
Yeah, they got to have the bigger machine. But we went to a 380 by 450 12 head. We never brought 520s over here. That machine was humongous. But it seems like we sold one to somebody somewhere. Maybe not.
I don't know. It's still you can still find it. It's still in the system.
It's in the book.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they'll make it. But I misspoke. It was we were selling 450s by 450s, which was still a big machine. And it was the same size as a 15 head 380 machine. So anyway,
that was a lot of numbers.
There's a lot of numbers, and probably nobody cares. But
I think it's interesting.
It is interesting. It's interesting how every company decides on what their field sizes are. I mean, if you look at every single manufacturer, and I go on their websites and see, what they sell, field size, and all this. Everybody's there's not one. You think there would be one standard, but there's not. There's Tajima, I think, was like 360 was theirs instead of 380. Was there narrow, and then
theirs is still now shorter.
Yeah.
Or narrower.
Narrower.
Even the wide field is still narrower
I think
than our
there's
wide
three.
field.
They have a 360 and a 500 machine, I think.
I was thinking
something
I was thinking
like
500,
that. Yeah.
which is what the Pro is.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, that's big enough for most things.
Yeah.
So, but my thing back with we were talking about the 8-head. We had people asking for that 8-head in a wide field. We kept asking Japan to build it, and they didn't really want to, and they finally came back and said, "Okay, we're going to build it," and they did. And we don't sell a lot of them, but we do sell a few of them. And you said you sold some of them.
Yeah.
Because we came out with the narrow field 8 first. Never sold a narrow 6 until I say recently, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe
in the grand scheme of Barrington, it's recent.
Exactly. Now in the UK, they sell a narrow field 4. Japan makes a narrow 4.
Yeah, I knew.
And we're not
doing that. Keep your fish and chips.
That's too many machines. Yeah,
keep your fish and chips and your narrow 4s.
But you got to think about in the UK and other places, they don't have their buildings are smaller
very small.
Than what they have here. And if they want a 4-head. But another point I was going to make when I got off the track was, if somebody didn't have room for a 6-head wide, we'd sell them a 4 wide.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a fan of a 4-head.
Yeah.
For the simple reason, when you look at the cost per head, the 6 makes better sense.
Way more sense.
And it still does.
Which is a conversation I probably have daily.
Yeah, exactly. People will call and say, "I want a 4-head," and I'm well, why do you want a 4? Well, I want a multi-head. I'm like, have you thought about a 6? Well, I don't have room for a 6, or the price is too much. No, it's not. When you look at the price of the 4-head versus a narrow or even a wide 6, it does not make sense to buy a 4.
It's a $3,000 difference between a 4 and a 6 narrow, and a $2,000 difference between a 6 narrow and a 6 wide.
It's ridiculous, and that's just the way that Barrington prices them to us, Barrington Japan, and it just makes sense to me to buy the 6 for what? $6,000 more for a wide 6 versus a
$5,000 more.
$5,000 more. So,
if you need math done,
I do need math.
I'm your guy.
I've got a calculator on my phone, but I don't know
my
how
phone
to
has
get
been
to it.
distracting me.
I know it has.
My garage door was up.
You playing a game?
Ashley texted me, "Will you put the garage door down?"
You're playing Candy Crush, aren't you?
I've never played that. Solitaire is my jam.
Oh,
but no, these salespeople keep coming to the house and ringing the doorbell. The dogs are freaking.
I hate salespeople.
Me too. Who would have thought? I hate myself sometimes. No, so I was like trying to shut the garage door.
What are they trying to sell you?
I don't know. I'm not talking to them.
Because you're the first house in the.
It's very easy to just pop in our driveway.
You're the first house in your development.
Yeah, have been.
And they're going to hit you first.
They hit me first. I hit back harder.
New room, new roof, new gutters.
I don't know.
Shutters,
they've come
new
by,
windows.
and Ashley's like, "Will you please shut the garage door?" Said the dogs ran out of the house. I don't know. So
Chasing the salespeople?
I hope so. I hope
I hope they ate a few of them.
No, they're just doing their job. That's the way I look at it.
I know. I'm nice to salespeople unless they're obnoxious. Then I will tell them, you may want to tone it down a little bit. I mean, I know we all got to sell stuff, but
tone it down.
When you get desperate to sell, it's not a good look.
I'm gonna come home to a brand new set of Cutco knives. Remember Cutco?
I do. Do I remember that? Yes, I do.
That's the door knife people.
Yeah.
Or a rainbow vacuum cleaner.
Hey, you remember? Your mother and I went to Raleigh this weekend to the camper show.
Raleigh,
North Carolina. And
you have a camper. Why are you going?
We want to look at another one.
You need to get a smaller one because when you retire, you're not be able to pull it with your station wagon.
Won't be able to drive my truck anymore.
No.
Yeah, we just wanted something to do. It was cold and raining, and we just wanted something to do. Anyway, do you remember that cookware? I don't know if you remember or not. Kyle may have been too small. We still have this cookware. Remember they came to our house and did this demonstration.
I remember. I remember the presentation.
I can't remember what it's called.
I remember that she bought a potato, like a julienne thing or mandolin.
It was you turn a crank.
Yeah.
And it would cut.
But man, those taters were good.
They were delicious. Remember that guy came and cooked us a meal?
Yeah. I don't remember the company, but I remember this. I remember that presentation and everything.
We walked up. We went to the campers and we walked in there. We go around this corner, and now my phone's lighting up. Walked around the corner, and there was a guy there getting ready to do a demonstration in 15 minutes. And Kim said, "Look, it wasn't that same guy. But
There's the guy.
They're getting ready to do a demonstration of this cookware, the same exact stuff, and we still have it. Man, that's been you were, dude. That's been 25.
No, probably not that. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You weren't driving.
Still don't.
Anyway,
Take a Uber everywhere.
we saw that talking about salespeople. But we invited this guy into our home, and he cooked a nice meal for us, which was really, they kind of got you. You're like, well, man, I got to buy something. That cookware was expensive, even for $19.95 or whenever it was.
It was earlier than that.
Wow. Anyway,
I remember the potato thing more than anything.
She still uses some of it.
If it works.
It was all stainless steel. It has a name. Cook Chef Plus or something. I don't know what it's called. I would look it up.
Yeah, and you obviously don't use it.
No, I don't use it. But you know what? You can relate field size to pot size.
I just ordered a 10-inch skillet today.
Okay,
I was thinking about going with a 12-inch, and I was like,
Man,
what am I making?
You should have got one. You should have got the 12.
No, because all I do is left chest and hats. I don't need a 12-inch.
Are you a one-egg guy or a two-egg guy?
I'm not an egg guy anymore.
Really? What happened?
They hurt my stomach.
Eggs? Jeez, man, that's straight from nature. And the chicken's butt.
Also known
Which
as
is
nature.
nature.
Yeah. No, I don't know. A lot of things have my stomach's not been great ever, honestly. I mean, since I was a kid, you know?
Oh, you and I suffer from the same
ailment.
But
eggs, it's just, I won't go into detail, but it's just rough on my stomach.
Oh, I can imagine. I can use my imagination.
Use your imagination.
Oh, I love eggs.
People at home.
You haven't eaten any of your brother's eggs?
Olive eats them daily. Ashley eats them. Olive cooks Ashley eggs.
I gotta get. I have to have Olive cook me an egg.
She's good. She's pretty good.
Does she fry them or scramble them?
Eat however you want them.
I don't like them scrambled.
No. Well, anyway, I say she can cook. They made pancakes like 2 weeks ago, and we got a brand new set of pans, and it ruined this one pan. I don't know why.
You can't use it?
You can, it just doesn't look great. So Ashley was raising a fuss this morning, so I just ordered a new skillet. I was like, this will solve this problem.
Is it Teflon?
No, that's cast iron.
Oh.
But I don't know what it did. It screwed the pan up, it burnt into the pan. And I wasn't there to see the cooking happen, so I don't have any critiques.
So you can't scrape it down and reseason it?
It's bad news.
That's sad. Cast iron usually is pretty. Yeah, it's kind of hard to screw it up.
I have plenty of them. I don't know. Maybe it was just a bad pan.
Some bad iron.
Not
enough magnesium or zinc or whatever it is in it.
Yeah, I don't think they took it through the full curing process.
It's very important. Yeah. You got to have lard. I bet you didn't put lard in it.
Oh, dude, I put some lard in it.
You put lard in it?
I put lard in everything. Look at me.
No, you didn't. You use olive oil. That's the worst. It has a low flash point.
Avocado for that reason.
We use canola.
That's not good for you.
Yeah, but it doesn't burn and smoke.
You don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not a cooker. I'm a good microwaver.
We don't even have a microwave.
Toaster ovener.
How about that?
All right. So you chose your pan based on
my needs,
just like embroidery.
Correct.
Machine.
Yep.
Okay. Now, if you were going to buy a singlet machine, what would you buy?
Per 3.
Would you?
If I had the room for it, CO1.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
I love it. Oh, back to field size. Let's talk about two head. One exception that we have. Japan, it was early last year when they introduced the KT2?
Man, I think it was actually the end of the year before that. Because I think we got it.
We didn't
Cleveland got it first, right?
They got it first.
I think that was the beginning to middle part of last year.
We brought it down here.
Yep.
Did we bring it from? Maybe it came from Atlantic City.
No, we had it here and took it to Atlantic City.
That's right.
Then it came back to us, and then went back to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Which I'm still bitter about.
Yeah, I like that machine too. Anyway, we make a KT2 two-head machine. That is a narrow field.
Not a 2-2 head, a 2-head. Because that would be a 4-head.
The chassis is about the same. It's 6 inches longer than this CO1.
Yep.
When people look at it, they think that we put 2 heads on this chassis, which we didn't. It's the chassis is built for the KT2, but it's 380 needle spacing, which has and we have sold. I wasn't nuts about that machine.
I wasn't. I've said this time and time again.
Japan said, "Hey, what do you guys think about this?" And we're like, "Great." Who asked for it? So they just sent us one, and they said, "Well, how many you want?" We're like, "Well, no." Oh, well, we'll send you 4 or 5. And I told Kevin, I said, "We'll never sell that," but we've sold it. We sold every one that they've sent over.
I think I might be wrong. I think there's been more KT 2 heads sold than the standard 2 heads.
Well, yeah. This year?
Yeah.
Or last year?
Yeah, last year.
I got to look.
I kind of keep track of it in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
have you sold more KT?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, there's a huge price difference.
Yeah.
Now we've just sold some KY 2 heads with the large field size. We've sold 2 or 3 here lately just because we have them in stock for some reason.
That's another thing with the 4s and the 6s.
Yeah.
The only benefit really is you're probably going to get a 4 quicker than you get a 6.
A 6.
Not probably, you will.
You will, yeah. But back to the KT2, the electronics on the single head machines are KT electronics, and the difference is, the only difference really is, well, the driver boards are different because you don't have to have as large a driver board or electronics to drive the multi-head machines.
Right.
But the multi-head machines are KY. They're going to have the 10.4-inch touchscreen display, which is really, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with the KT display, but it's
8.4
inches
okay.
on it. It just the KY display has more stuff on the screen where you don't have to
you fit more
like
stuff.
Turning the page in a book to find the next.
You fit more favorites on there and
exactly.
Blah, blah,
blah. But and the KT2 head was made to be a little less expensive than the KY 2-head machine. Of course, it's got a smaller sewing field and it's got the KT electronics on it, which it's a little simpler machine electronically, which I'm not going to say it's easier to work on, but there's just fewer moving parts on it.
Yeah.
As far as the trimmer mechanism and all that. So it's been a very, very good machine. It's kind of like two tiny CO1s put together. It's kind of how it is.
I guess that's a good analogy.
Yeah.
I do. I really like it.
We had one here, and we fell in love with it. I didn't want to carry the thing, and we started selling it, and it kind of took off. It really did. We had one out at the Long Beach show, and it was sold before we took it out there. And
matter of fact, that's the most popular podcast that we have had.
Which one?
The KT 2-head, when we did that podcast.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Well, this one will
just blow it out of the water.
Yeah, this one will trump that one. So,
now, being with it because I was there on that side of the booth in Atlantic City, and that's when I was like, man, this thing's sweet.
I don't think it broke a thread up there.
It did not.
I mean, it ran, and we were sewing that lion's head, that Billy Chestnut, weren't we?
Not on it, no.
We weren't.
It was the like samurai thing or whatever.
That's what it was. Because that lion's head
it's too big.
Wouldn't sew on that because it was a narrow field machine. But man, that machine was humming. I mean,
I think I've got the design up there on top of my desk.
That made a believer out of me. Not that I thought there was anything wrong with it. It wasn't that. It's just that, well, if I'm going to buy a 2-head, but for the price point that machine comes in at, and if you don't need that big sewing field, that is a sweet little machine.
Yeah, and people are like, well, I'll just buy 2 Pro 3s. It's cheaper. Now it's not.
But really, it's not.
It's not.
Now and again, it's going to be a price thing. But back to the whole gist of this is if you're looking at a machine or you have a machine now, one of the most important things you want to consider is the sowing field. How big or how small, what you think you're going to do. I think that you're best to err on the side of getting one bigger than you need, and then your next machine get one smaller. And that's why we make the large field and the small field. Or for us, large field would be the standard.
The standard,
field,
yeah.
Or and the small field. I just when we were talking about what we were going to talk about on the podcast, you and I kept we get asked about field size all the time, and that's a good thing. That people want to know how big an area they want to do.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. If I'm talking to a customer, I stress and stress and stress. What are you going to be doing? And how many times have we had people say, "Oh, I don't need that big sowing field," and I'm like, "Well, you'll never do a jacket." No, I'm never going to do a jacket. So if somebody comes and wants jackets done, you're going to turn it down. And look, I'm not telling you to do jackets. I don't want to do. I wouldn't want to do.
No,
jackets.
most people don't want to do it.
But if they're willing to pay me, what I need, the price I need for the jacket, then yeah, I'll do it. It's not that I don't want to do a jacket. It's hard to make money doing jackets.
Yeah, you're taking up your. That's a lot of time for design to run.
It's a lot of stitches.
Taking up your machine.
Right, and you have to be paid for the time that machine's running. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. Yep. Literally. You remember that big tractor trailer we had that we sewed for that guy? That it took was it 6 hours?
It was 6 hours or like
we
five.
We sewed it on
5
the,
hours, 45 minutes.
It was on the Steel one.
Yeah.
That thing was huge. It looked good.
It did.
But man, it was nothing but fill stitches, and it wasn't digitized very well either. I mean, it looked good, but it just puckered a lot.
Yeah.
Because of the way that it's sewed. But anyway, we're digressing again. So, anything you want to add to this?
Me?
No,
or
you.
them?
You.
I don't think so.
But if you're looking at a machine and you're thinking about Barrett, hopefully you are. When you talk to your sales rep, just be cognizant that field size, and in my opinion, it's the most important thing is field size. I would take a bigger field size over more needles.
Yeah.
I would. That's how important it is, because if the thing is, you got to sew stuff, and if you don't have a machine big enough to sew your stuff, then
you ain't sewing.
You ain't sewing your stuff.
Yeah, I try to. That's usually one of the things I ask is, okay, let's talk about field size and the difference between the machines, because it's automatic. It's like it just comes out of my mouth. This is the Pro 3 field size XL, and up to the multi heads, and it's simple. I mean, it's only three different field sizes really to break down. Wide, narrow, 4 Pro 3 XL.
Well, when you get to the 12 and 15.
Yes, yeah.
They've got it. Well, it was 450, then it went to 380. But usually when somebody's buying a 12, they know
right,
what they want. You don't have to tell them.
They've been there, done that.
Yeah. Usually they're buying their second or third machine. So, on the XL, the only knock on that machine is field size.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And again, it's perfect for some people.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that a wrap?
I think that's a wrap. This, I'm getting a new laptop this evening, so I should be able to get it edited quick.
Really? Yeah, we missed last week just because I was gone.
Yeah, it's been hectic. So hang in there with us.
It's been so busy. Both of us have traveled and just haven't been able to get a podcast out there. And we love doing these things. So
we could do them on the road. That's what we should do. Just take this thing and.
We should do one in Atlantic City.
Did we last time? Mm-mm.
You did it at GPX, Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. In the hotel room.
Twice. One time we did it on the booth when Mr. Evans was there. And
we did Scott and John. Scott, John, yeah. Sean, remember? Because we had to cut Sean short.
Yeah, you didn't turn it on.
You got to keep bringing it up, don't you?
No, we could.
Matter of fact, this one hasn't been on the whole time.
It would be nice to do one from the booth in Atlantic City.
It would. It's so hard to.
Yeah, I know.
All these are great ideas, but in reality,
We're so busy prepping for the. I mean, it's like the show's set up. At the end of the day, it's a long day. I mean, the show starts at 10, but we're there 8:30, 9 o'clock to prep for the day. We have to make sure the machines. I don't want us to be hooping when customers are coming in at 10 o'clock.
You need to be
running. At 10 o'clock, I want to hit the start button on the machines. So we usually vacuum, put out more literature, we straighten up, we make sure the machines are ready to go. There's always some hooping to be done. Somebody always comes to talk to us. Another vendor.
Yeah.
It's like I usually have a meeting with somebody before the show, and it's really hard to. I don't know. Maybe we do it in a hotel room. Maybe I don't know. We'll talk about it. It is tough, but I mean we're driving, so
we could easily do that.
Yeah, in the hotel.
They're driving.
Podcast while we're driving?
Heck yeah.
Not too many bad words if I'm driving.
That's a fact.
Yeah, that's a fact. I wasn't too bad on the Florida trip, was I?
Not really.
Yeah, I was pretty calm.
Yeah.
I took some hallucinogenics.
That's definitely not a good idea.
No, it's not. And I didn't do that. That's a joke.
I was hopped up on beta blockers. I wonder, like, did you have a bad temper when you were younger?
I think I've mellowed a lot. No, there's...
Dude.
I'm
going to sip.
No.
Okay.
I'm your dad. Did I? When you were growing up?
I just answered the question. Oh. No, I think you're worse now than you were.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You're probably right.
Yeah. So what I was going to say is, I wonder if, because I had an extremely bad temper when I was younger.
You've mellowed a lot.
I know.
You truly have. But don't you think that age does it? Having kids does it.
I would think that.
Well, no, because I've gotten worse.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's just I don't have patience for idiots. I don't. I see things when I drive.
Is it mainly driving?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good a driver am I?
You're a good driver. Great driver.
You've ridden
a 10. You're a 10.
I don't tailgate. I signal. I'm pretty careful. Except for that guy about sideswiped us that snuck up on us.
That was close.
That scared the crap out of me. He came out of nowhere. I didn't see him until he was past us.
The deal is, he was definitely behind the trailer and then tried to just take off and pass.
Yeah.
You couldn't have seen him.
That's
my story.
That really shook me up a little bit.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. What were you saying?
You're a great driver.
No, but
my fear is, like, I feel like I'm pretty chill. Like, things don't really rile me up. I was extremely volatile.
You were.
So now as I age, am I going to turn into you times 10 is my thought. Yeah. Because I'll put a hole in some drywall, so what's going to happen? I'll tear a hole in this office.
No. I say my piece, and then I'm done.
I don't know,
No,
man.
I do.
Okay.
I do. You don't think so?
I've already answered it.
I don't go on and on and on about it. I get mad. I say whatever. And then I try to rationalize. Well, and sometimes I get mad and I'm like, well, that was stupid. Why did I get mad at that?
It's usually stupid.
It's nine times out of 10, it's stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Your brother, he never gets mad. I'm like,
I feel like he's a person, like, just all that bull's inside of him.
Yeah. He would probably.
No, don't say it.
I ain't gonna say that.
This is on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, I shouldn't say. And he wouldn't do that. I know he gets mad because I've worked around him enough. He'll say a couple of choice words and mumble. He mumbles anyway, and then he walks off. Yeah, he goes, and I know he's mad. I mean, we tore down a barn past 3 or 4 months. He bought a barn in Lexington, and me and Brandon and Kyle.
I haven't done much of it.
Well,
actually, I did a big chunk of it, honestly.
You did. You helped a lot. We got a lot done. Anyway, he wanted the wood out of the barn, and this barn was about to fall in. But anyway, we all went down there and helped him just about every Saturday for 3 or 4 months, or every other Saturday. But he got mad a couple of times down there. He was getting mad. And he and I got in an argument about how to tear something down. You weren't there. We were like, and Kyle and I never fuss. You and I fuss.
Yeah.
Not fuss.
No.
But Kyle and I never fuss.
No, because I feel like he's the type of person that if you say something to him, he's just going to internalize it. He's not going to.
Yeah.
I'm not that person.
No, you're not. I'm not either.
Yeah.
You and I, you don't want to know this, but I mean, you don't want me to say this. You and I are a whole lot alike.
I agree, but I feel like you are you at 100. I'm you at like probably 30 or 35%.
I used to have to get on to you a lot when you were a kid because you had a really bad temper.
I know. I remember. Do you remember
Chris Jones?
Well, there's been a number of times. Do you remember when I sat outside? I was so mad. I punched through all the slats on the railing outside the house. Do you remember this?
I remember that.
Well, that's stupid. I would never do that now, but I could see you doing that now.
Oh, no. I'm not going to hurt myself. First of all, I'm not strong enough to knock a slat out. That's a good thing.
Yeah. I was going Chuck Norris through the slats on the porch.
Yeah, I didn't tell you this. I was out. It's been about a month ago. I never get mad at your mom. I just don't. First of all, it's not worth it. Second of all, I don't hurt feelings. She's such a. I'm just saying it. She's a good person. Kim's not a person you want to make mad, and plus she'll fire back at you. I'm scared of her. I'm kind of scared of her. So this has nothing to do with embroidery. I'm going to tell this little story. I was working on my motorcycle. I was changing oil on my Softail, and I was out there messing around. And she comes out there, and you know where I keep my rolling toolbox.
Yeah.
And she was going to get something out of the closet, and the door was open, and she pulled on another drawer, and you know that toolbox tilted over.
Oh, that flipped over? Oh, man.
Dude, I was really ticked off, and I really got mad at her. And
you didn't hit her with a wrench, did you?
No. No, I didn't. Socket. 2 millimeter. No. And I've never snapped at her like that. And then she was wanting to help me pick the tools up. I said, just please, just leave. Just leave the garage. Just leave. And she didn't like that. We really got into it. And I apologized to her. I did. And I did. I said, look, you didn't deserve that. I'm sorry. You really didn't. And she said, yeah, I didn't know that if I pulled that drawer, because I had a drawer already out.
Yeah.
And I probably got that thing overstuffed.
Yeah.
But she started picking up tools, and I'm like, honey, you're
going to put them in the wrong spot.
No, I know where they are. She was trying to help, which made things worse. We haven't fussed like that. I mean, it didn't take us long to get over it, but
that's marriage.
I felt really bad about that. I really, truly, man, I thought about that.
As you should.
Yeah. She didn't deserve that. She didn't do it on purpose.
Nobody really does. Life's too short to get mad at folks.
No, but I'm still missing a couple sockets. They must have rolled under the workbench.
They probably did. God knows where they are.
Maybe I'll get a couple new sockets out of it.
Well, leave your marriage problems in the comments below, and we'll sort through them.
Yeah. Has anybody ever turned over, has your wife or significant other ever turned over your toolbox full of tools? I got a lot of tools.
Is that brag? Are you bragging?
No, I'm not. Half of them, I don't know what they do because I got them from Dad.
Yeah, I know. I have stuff of his. I'm like,
he's got a box of tools. I have no idea what they are. I don't know what they are. I'm not the dumbest person in the world. I know how to work on stuff. I fixed Kyle's brakes on his truck the other day. His back brakes. He didn't want me to do it. I'm like, dude, I've done this before. Let's work on it.
Yeah.
But I got these tools. I don't know what.
Somebody knows. They have a purpose.
Yeah.
They're made. Yeah. He knows.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. So hopefully
that was such a bad tangent.
No, it's fine, man. Well, we covered field sizes, so it's an important thing. Think about it before you order machines and talk to us. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, we can direct you in the right. Now, we're not going to tell you, but we're going to give you options on what you could do about field size.
Yep.
But and the reason we want to talk about this is we get asked all the time at the shows. They want to, especially with the single head machines. Well, what's the difference? And the biggest thing is, where you're going to be sewing, and a lot of the people don't know what they're going to be sewing. 99%
of telephone calls I get in a day, it comes up at some point.
Yeah.
So it is important. So that's why we want to talk about it. So we did.
And we did, and we entertained you with some humor, maybe. Chicken. Talked about chicken. Talked about marriage. Talked about
throwing sockets at your significant other.
Yeah.
All right. We'll, I don't know when we'll get to the next one. Hopefully soon. This one will come out when it comes out, so enjoy it.
Yeah, we kept her next.
Yeah.
We may get. I want to get Phil Hooks on here and talk to Phil and maybe interview him.
I asked him.
Yeah, he'll do it. We just need to talk to him. But I think it's good you guys hear from some of the other reps and what their philosophies are
Instead of us rambling.
Yeah, I know you get tired of us, but
all right. Well, go register for the show. I'll put the code in all the places you can get it.
Please come if you get a chance. If you're not buying anything, just stop by and see us.
Yep.
Brandon will be there at this one. Everybody was missing him in Long Beach. You'll be at the next 2 shows.
Yeah, GPX.
I may take you to Fort Worth.
Nah, I'm good.
Well, if I tell you to go, you got to go.
No, I quit.
You get fired?
I quit.
Oh, okay.
Just kidding. I was supposed to go to the last one, and you canceled on me.
Yeah, I know. I may take it. It's
if you need the manpower, I'm happy to do it.
That's. I know it's taken out of your territory, but
I have people that go to those. People that go to Long Beach.
I know you do. You do. Because your territory's so big. You always have people. So we may. I may. It's getting tougher to get these. The older I get, the harder it is to crawl around on my knees and set these machines up.
It is a pain, but
anyway, thank you guys for listening.
As always,
comment. Please leave a comment. Like. Even if you don't like it, if you think we're stupid.
Thanks for all the comments on the last video.
Yes,
I still stand by my Superman comment. So
yeah,
that's what it is.
We need to go. This has gone long enough, but you're so wrong.
All right, we'll see you guys on the next one. Be good to everybody out there.
Be good to your spouse.
And learn how to merge. Namaste.